For almost 30 years, Voller Law Firm has been winning serious injury and death cases for clients. They have collected millions of dollars on behalf of their clients and belong to the prestigious $1 Million Advocates Forum. When insurance or a wrongdoer won't pay for what they took from you, go with an award-winning firm with a track record of results. At Voller Law Firm, results matter. Make sure you go with lawyers that have the experience, ability, and financial power to hold those that hurt you accountable. Put your trust in Voller Law Firm. Give them a call at 662-323-0083.
You're listening to Thunder and Lightning on SuperTalk Mississippi, covering Mississippi State sports like nobody else. With Sports Talk Mississippi's Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk of On3 Sports. Now get ready for Thunder and Lightning.
This is Thunder and Lightning here on Super Talk Mississippi. Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk here with you on a Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us here at supertalk.fm or wherever it is that you get podcasts from. We appreciate you guys out there, our great listeners, especially our servicemen and women out there taking care of us. I want to thank our sponsors over at Strange Brew Coffee House and Churn and Spoon Ice Cream. I'm sorry. I laughed. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Before we do the read here. Brett McMurphy. Weird realignment times. Big 12 adds Boise State, Florida State, and South Carolina in beach volleyball as affiliate members. That just made me laugh.
Boise State beach volleyball, huh?
I'm sure it's the ocean in Boise is beautiful.
Man, beautiful time of year to play beach volleyball in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yes. Start your day the right way with a trip to the drive-thru over at Strange Brew Coffee House here in Starkville or at Brupolo over in Tupelo. It would be a little weird, Robbie, if Brupolo was in Oil City.
It would be a little weird. We have an Oil City, Mississippi, huh?
Is it? Yeah. I don't know. There's no. I don't know if it's Oil City or Oil City, but whatever you want to call it.
Like OLE or OIL.
It's spelled like the stuff you put in your car or the stuff that you fry chicken in.
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken. But I don't know if it's oil or oil. It's
somebody just popped some oil one day. It was like, hey, we're in Oil City now.
Oil City now. There you go.
We're rocking and rolling.
Texas tea.
Where is that?
Yazoo County.
Haley Barbour County.
There you go. Wherever you are in our great state, you can enjoy Strange Brew Coffee each and every morning. It's just a click away at strangebrewcoffeehouse.com.
Can we get a casino in Oil City?
Well, only if it doesn't
money flowing like wine.
Yeah. The Mississippi Beef Council wants to remind you that beef, it is what's for dinner. If you're cooking out this weekend, nothing beats the sizzle of beef on the grill. If you're in the Junction or if you're just at home watching college football, make beef the star of the show. You can do that any night. Weeknight meals, beef is such a great ingredient. Or hey, if you just want to get out of the house and go find a great steakhouse, they're going to have a TV on. Don't you worry about that. You can watch the games and enjoy a fantastic steak at any of Mississippi's great steakhouses from South Haven to Biloxi. They're just all over the place. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Thanks to our friends at the Mississippi Beef Council. College Corner, collegecornerstore.com is the place to find the maroon and white merchandise that you are looking for. Specifically, the white merchandise this week. It is a whiteout. If you're in the Jackson area before you head to Starkville, stop by College Corner and pick up a brand new interlocking Mississippi State white polo. They've got a big shipment of them in just for this game. So check them out. 2 of the locations in Jackson, Ridgeland by Fleet Feet, Flowwood by the Hash Shell, or you can shop online at collegecornerstore.com. Restaurant Tyler, speaking of a great Mississippi steak, you can get one of those at Restaurant Tyler. You get an outstanding steak there. Robbie and I have both enjoyed a steak. I don't think either one of us paid for it because the other one did, but that's just how it goes sometimes. If you want to have a fantastic steak in Starkville, Restaurant Tyler is a great place to do it, but that's just a great place for whatever kind of meal you want, lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. When you're in Starkville for a game day weekend, you got to make a trip to Restaurant Tyler. Priority One Bank, 16 locations to serve you throughout Central Mississippi. Let PriorityOneBank.com be your guide and show you not only how they're going to help you invest and manage your money, but how they're going to help you prepare for your future. Now more than ever, when you have questions about your money, you need answers. You got to talk to people who know. You got to talk to people who know you and know your money. You need a bank that gives you a personal relationship. You're only going to get that with a bank like Priority One Bank. Let Priority One Bank make you their priority.
So, Brian,
hey there, Robbie.
So we have a a release for the times for the SEC versus ACC challenge.
We do.
And Mississippi State is playing Georgia Tech at 9 p.m. local.
Yeah.
They're playing 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
In Atlanta.
Yes.
A 9 p.m. ball game. 8 p.m. is already a bit much for me.
9.
You're going to play 9 p.m.
Well, are you going to the game? It'll be 8 here.
No, and I'm just thinking about the people there.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't understand why State's playing Georgia Tech again. They already played them 2 years ago. Like,
at Georgia Tech.
Part of this is to have cool, different matchups, and you go to new places, and they're just like, nah, send State back to Atlanta. Like, why?
And we covered that when we talked about that a couple months ago.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah,
it's so lazy.
Do a little bit. Do a minuscule amount of research.
Like, I would almost rather State be at Stanford than be at Georgia Tech again. So whatever.
Makes no sense.
Whatever.
Yeah. And if you're going to do that, then put it at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
The Georgia Tech comes to
make
State.
Georgia Tech come here. Yeah, exactly.
It makes no sense.
All right.
So nothing about this game makes any sense.
Hey, speaking of scheduling, great segue, Robbie. I know that was 100% intentional. We'll talk Mississippi State, Tennessee a little later in the show. Ben McKee joins us from GoVols 24/7 to give a preview from the Volunteer side. But the SEC announcement on Tuesday night, the SEC schedule's locked in for the next 4 seasons, 2026 through 2029. We already knew that the permanent opponent. I'm sorry. Let me clean up that verbiage. The annual opponents.
There you go. I've had to go back on that in my writing several times.
Alabama, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss. It's a good balance, right? You knew you were going to get Ole Miss. Alabama and Vanderbilt, it's kind of like a balance. So it's fine. Here's what Mississippi State's facing in 2026. Home games. This state gets the 5 home games in 2026. As you know, with an unbalanced 9-game schedule, you're going to have a year where you have 4 home games and 1 year you have 5 home games. Richard Cross talked about this on Monday Sports Talk Mississippi, that the SEC is going to try to take into account some future schedules. Mississippi State has a road non-conference game in 2026. They're at Minnesota. And that's a game they can't really cancel because they need to keep that Power 4 requirement. So the SEC is first go round, hey, Mississippi State getting 5 home games, who's going to complain? And getting Alabama at home. I really thought Alabama would be on the road because the last time Alabama and Mississippi State played, it was here in Starkville. But that will be here in Starkville along with Vanderbilt. Auburn back on the schedule, Missouri, and Oklahoma's first contest with Mississippi State here in Starkville. At Tiger Stadium, at Vaught Hemingway, at Williams-Brice, and at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium, I believe is the name for Texas. At Ole Miss, LSU, South Carolina, and Texas. So State will have Texas the first 3 years the Longhorns have been in the conference. And then something we talked about, but now it's written into stone here. It's not a complete flip the next year. It's you get the teams you didn't play, and then it mirrors the year after that. So 2026 and 2028 are mirrors, and then 2027 and 2029 are mirrors. 2027, State at home with Arkansas, Florida, Ole Miss, A&M, at Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt, and then that just flips again in 2029. At first glance, look, you're in the SEC. There's not going to be any such thing as an easy schedule. I think Tennessee got the easiest of the annual opponents because they got to keep Kentucky and Vanderbilt along with getting Alabama. So they got 2 of what you would consider the lower tier. But by and large, you're just going to have to play tough games. You're in the SEC. I don't think any of these schedules are so unmanageable, making the assumption that Jeff Lebby continues to improve this program that you got to whine and cry about it, like I saw some people doing.
Well, I think people just have such a microscope on their own team.
Yeah.
They don't really see the big picture.
Yeah, look at everybody else's schedule. They're equally difficult.
Every single team in the league is going to have a difficult schedule now. You have to play 9 out of your 12 games against league opponents. And it's going to fluctuate year by year. I can look at the schedule for 2026 and I can make assumptions on what these teams are going to look like, but at the end of the day, we won't know until the season starts. I don't know if South Carolina's going to be really good next year. I don't know if Alabama's going to be really good next year.
With the portal, you have no idea what every team is going to be year to year. You just don't.
No idea. Did anybody expect Vanderbilt to be competitive these last 2 years?
Right.
I mean, everybody would be thrilled to have Vanderbilt on their schedule. what are they going to look like? Is this team going to start taking off? Are they going to, is Clark Lee, does he have it all figured out? That could be a bad thing for Mississippi State. I don't know. We're living in an era of college sports that is totally unpredictable, and there is no more real dynasties or anything like that. The teams that really push money in and support their programs are going to be the ones that I think are successful for however long they do that. You know, if you're investing in your program, if you're spending millions and millions of dollars and you're somewhere from middle of the pack to the upper echelon in the SEC and what you're spending, you're going to probably be more competitive on a year-to-year basis. Because to me, I mean, coaching is incredibly important, but the teams that have the best players are usually the ones that are winning the games. That's how it's worked forever. And like I said, I think coaching goes hand in hand with that. You need the coaches to put the guys in place, but Texas Tech under Joey McGuire was nothing special.
Mhm.
And now with the players that they have, they look like a team that can contend long term.
Mhm.
So we don't really know. But I look at the schedule and I think it's fine. I think you have some exciting home games. Vanderbilt's not going to sell a ton of tickets, but you know, if State's really good, people will be there. But you get Alabama, you get Oklahoma for the first time ever. You get Auburn, that's going to bring a crowd,
Mhm.
and then Missouri has become a really competitive team under Drink. So
Mhm.
it's a solid home schedule. I think
Yeah.
you look at all these home schedules the rest of the way, it's going to be exciting games
And
every single week, pretty much. I mean, the majority of your schedule now is going to be tough if you're in
yeah.
the SEC, and we're going to have to change how we look at success within this conference. At Mississippi State, it used to be, if you get to 9 wins, that's a great season. 10 wins is one of the best seasons you've ever had.
Yeah.
Now, getting bowl eligible is bigger than ever
Yeah.
for Mississippi State, and winning
I mean,
8
tougher.
games would be really, really good.
Yeah, because you're playing 10 power 5 games a year. The biggest positive for me is all this, and we've talked about this a little bit. State's trip to Florida on October 18th is their first trip there since 2010. Tennessee coming in this weekend, first time since 2012. You're in the same conference with these people, and they aren't coming to your stadiums. Now, a freshman who comes into Mississippi State in 2026, they can go to every SEC stadium in a 4-year career. That's what being in a conference is supposed to be. So I'm a big fan of that. Now,
I thought it was interesting last night. Greg McElroy, who
hmm,
was at Alabama, I think the whole way, never played at Florida.
yeah,
And who was the other guy on there? The other player, I can't remember. He had not played at like Arkansas or someplace. Like you said, now when you're in the SEC, if you're here for 4 years, just four,
yeah.
you will play at every single venue in the
Is
entire
it
SEC.
is it Georgia that has not played Texas A&M yet?
Man, that might
That's,
be
I think that's accurate.
that's wild if so.
It's either they haven't played them yet or they haven't played at one of the locations. I'm not sure which one it is. But I have another correction to issue real quick. Totally off topic. Yesterday on the show when we are doing the rumblings, we were talking about Dazed and Confused, and I said that would be set in like 1996 now. I was incorrect. I have been corrected on that. Dazed and Confused, if it was remade for this year, but to go back the same time period, would be set in 2008.
Yeah, it would be the 2000s.
So if you just
Because
want
that
to
movie was made in,
feel awful about yourself.
was it the mid 90s?
Yes. Yeah. So
96, 95,
yeah,
somewhere
something like
around
that.
there.
Yeah. So just
Oof.
point that out. Now for Mississippi State, 9 conference games. Mississippi State, according to their website, hailstate.com, only has 3 conference game schedules. FBS schedule or FBschedules.com says they have 4. They have ULM, Troy, Tennessee Tech, and then at Minnesota. That's for the 2026. State has a home and away with Troy schedule for 2026-27. Great scheduling by a certain athletic director who's no longer here, who's given away free basketball head coaching jobs to your kids apparently.
All right, this question.
Yeah.
Were these games set by Cohen or Scott Strickland?
I mean, what if we had a device?
I'm almost positive the Minnesota series was from Strickland.
Strickland is the Minnesota series. I don't have an issue with the Minnesota series.
But the Troy and all that, I don't know. But there's no question a lot of these games are going to get canceled.
This is what is the date on this? August 23rd, 2017. That's Cohen.
For
Troy.
Troy, yeah. You gotta axe that.
You can't
Troy.
because as it stands right now in 2027, when you only have 4 conference home games, if you have a road non-conference game, you're not going to have 7 home games. They got to go.
Okay, so let's look at 2026. So Minnesota's staying, I imagine. You got ULM, Troy, and Tennessee Tech. One of those 3 has to go.
Yes.
Is it Troy?
It's got to be Troy. You just got to have to cancel the series.
Cancel the series with Troy.
All right. 2027. Now you've got to find somebody to replace at Troy. That won't be difficult to do, though. 2028. North Alabama, Texas Tech at Memphis. Now, that's a year where you have 5 conference home games. Is it not? Yeah, 2028. So you could stay with that Memphis game. You could and still have your 7 home games.
Yes, but
2029.
I would not go to Memphis anymore.
I wouldn't either, but we'll see.
Memphis
that's won their last 4 home games against SEC teams.
Yes, I
wouldn't go.
That's why I wouldn't do it. I would not go to Memphis. That's a lose-lose situation for you.
Yeah,
it's not. It's actually worse than Southern Miss because they could actually beat you.
Yeah, 2029. You're at Texas Tech. So what that says is, I don't know. I don't know if you can. Do you need to talk to Texas Tech about moving that? Move it to 2030. Perhaps.
Man, how about the timing on that? Because Texas Tech's going to be probably absolutely loaded.
Loaded, yeah. But, it just is what it is. There's nothing you can do about that. 2030, 2031 are interesting because that's where you have Washington State. Those were scheduled when Washington State was in the Pac-12. That no longer exists, and they don't count as a power school anymore. You've got to get them off and get another power school on the schedule.
And you got to get Southern Miss out.
2030, you're at Southern Miss. I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked if they play that game. If they do play it, I think you tell Southern Miss, we'll give you some money to come to Starkville.
You can't go to Southern anymore.
You can't go. 2031 at Washington State, it's got to go. You can't play that game. And then 2032 at Tulane, probably not going to happen either. I think the days of Mississippi State traveling for road games in non-conference are going to be very limited to the power games.
The only road games they should take from here on out are the power 4.
Your conference home games and whoever your other one. Exactly. I agree with you 100%. So I just feel like that's going to be the case.
But everybody is in the same boat.
Exactly. It's not exclusive to Mississippi State.
No, I look at Ole Miss, they don't have for the next few years, they don't have any power 4 teams scheduled currently.
Let me see what they're scheduled.
They got Charlotte and Wofford next year. They got Charlotte and Oregon State.
They're at Charlotte. They're going to have to get rid of one of those.
Oregon State's out.
Oregon State doesn't.
Well, they could play Oregon State, but it wouldn't be their power game.
Right. They could keep it, but
the only games they have is Virginia Tech and 32, and then Purdue. They have Virginia Tech 32 and 37.
Yeah.
And then Purdue 33 and 34.
Yeah, Ole Miss has some work to do on their scheduling. Like 2026, I haven't looked at their are they a 4 or 5? So Ole Miss in 2026, home against Auburn, Georgia, LSU, Mississippi State. So that's 5. And then they have home game schedule with Wofford, and that's it. They got to get rid of this game with Charlotte. Or they can find another home non-conference game, which they need to do anyway. I don't know. I don't know if they keep that Charlotte game or not.
Where does the Charlotte thing come from? That's so random. Is there a connection there?
I don't know why they're playing Charlotte. Yeah, I have no idea. Why did Keith Carter? I don't know if it's Keith Carter or not. It might have been his predecessor, but I don't know. There's just going to be a lot of work over the next few weeks trying to get these schedules straight because they big change. Now, we got it. I don't know if this is true now. This might be something you want to dig into if you want to do a freedom of information or whatever. But somebody texted this Sports Talk Mississippi and said these contracts are designed with an escape clause, basically that said if the Southeastern Conference were to go to 9 conference games, we can cancel this series with no penalty.
Oh, that's good.
But I don't know if that's true or not. So,
well, if that's the case, that's
going
to save you a lot of money.
Yeah, and these games now, these group of 6 schools, they're gonna look at it and go, okay, the SEC is going to play 9 conference games. They're going to play 1 power game. They're always going to play an FCS team. Mississippi State will always play an FCS game.
And they should. They should do that.
Should.
I mean, there should be an absolute guarantee.
You got to have 1. So
they need 2.
That leaves 1 game per year to go around for all the group of 6 teams who like to play the power teams because they make money on those deals. Those teams are going to be in demand. Like Southern Miss, if I'm Mississippi State, I would tell Southern Miss, like, look, we're not coming to Hattiesburg, but we'll do a 5-year deal with you in Starkville. You can play us every year in Starkville.
I would just play you know what I would do? I would play Southern Miss and Jackson State every year. You get a SWAC school. You keep the money in state.
I don't have a problem with that.
You get a SWAC school and you play Southern Miss, 2 schools in state.
But you can't go to Hattiesburg. You just can't. And
no.
I know USM fans might be upset about that. This is just the nature of the beast right now. State cannot give away road games outside of the power opponents. They just can't. And so that's the way that's going to be. So I like the new scheduling. I like the fact that you're going to see everybody. You know, like I said, it's just it doesn't make sense to be in a conference with a team and only play them once every 6 or 7 years. If you're a Florida fan, I remember making when they announced these schedules, even before the addition of Texas and Oklahoma, that my daughter Aislinn, who at the time was 4, would be a sophomore in college before State went back to Florida. And that's what's the case is. And it doesn't make any sense for that to be if you're in a conference with somebody. So I like what they've done. I like all of that. Going to be some good matchups. Will they be tough? Yes. Will it be tougher on Mississippi State in some ways? Yes. That's where Jeff Lebby comes in. That's where Kamario Taylor comes in. They got to get this program where you want it to be. So good stuff from the SEC though. I like the decision. I can't believe I'm saying that too. I used to be a hardcore 8, don't play 9, but I see where they're going with this at least. So
yeah.
All right. Let's move into the rest of the show. That's brought to you by our friends over at Two Brothers Smoked Meats and the Older Brother over in the Cotton District. If you're going to be in Starkville this weekend, Two Brothers Smoked Meats and the Older Brother are places you need to go. Two Brothers on a college football Saturday is a great hangout. Plenty of TVs to watch the games, and of course, top-notch food everywhere you look. The Older Brother, the same. If you're going to be in Starkville this weekend, the Cotton District is going to be hopping. Be a part of the fun in Starkville at Two Brothers Smoked Meats and the Older Brother. Great products, great service. Every business likes to promise it to you. They deliver it to you at Advantage Business Systems. That's what they've been doing for 50 years.
Hey, brother.
When you need technology for your business, give Advantage Business Systems a call. If you need new copiers, new printers, new laptops, new computers, whatever it is. But make that call knowing that once the deal is done, the service remains. That you're going to be able to call the folks at Advantage Business Systems at any time and say, hey, something's not right. Can you come out here? And a lot of times it's going to be the exact same day. It's certainly going to be faster than you're going to get with a lot of your big box dealers. Because they don't know you. They're not in Mississippi. Advantage Business Systems is. 601-362-9192 or visit them online, absms.com. Find out how Advantage Business Systems will help your business do business. If you're going to be in Starkville this weekend, among the many things you need to do, a trip to Maroon & Co. needs to be high on your list. You need new Mississippi State gear. Maybe you need a new white polo or new white hat for this weekend's whiteout. You can get it at Maroon & Co., and you get the biggest and best selection. Everything you're looking for, all the logos you're looking for, it's all right there for you at Maroon & Co. And best of all is our promo code to save you some money. Thunder15 takes 15% off the regular price. Some exclusions do apply. Still don't know a lot of those exclusions, but whatever. Before you go,
apparently the Starkville versus Everybody shirt.
Is that one?
The camo shirts were an exclusion.
That was an exclusion. One exclusion. It'll be all right.
We found one.
Yeah. Before you go to Davis Wade Stadium this weekend, make sure you go to Maroon & Co. Richard Cross and I will be at Scruggs Farm, Lawn and Garden today. Apparently, the guy who says who owes me $10,100 from betting, he said he's coming today. So we'll see if that happens.
The Southern Miss guy.
Yeah, he said he's coming.
Well, he was also coming to the press
He
box.
was, but we'll see. Hey, you know what? If I get 10 grand, yeah,
Hey, if you get 10 grand, can I get a little bit of that?
I'll buy lunch.
Okay. You better buy me more than one lunch if you
I'll
got
buy dinner.
$10,000.
How about that? Dinner.
Dinner, yes.
Okay.
I can
We'll,
take
we'll
that.
go to Tyler on my account.
Fine.
All right.
I'll do it.
All right.
Leave me alone. Stop bugging me
You know
about
what'd be
it.
great is we can each have 2 stuffed pancakes.
Oh yeah, we don't have to worry about that at all.
Yeah, we can just have 2 desserts.
Trying to save a little bit of money. We were sharing the stuffed pancakes, but now we both get one.
No. We didn't. Don't act like we were in there with one spoon.
We
there.
were. No, we each had a spoon, but we were sharing.
Now we can just get our own. It'd be great.
We've shared dessert several times.
Yes, we have. Anyway, Scruggs Farm Lawn and Garden is where I'm going to be this afternoon. Please come by 3 to 6 and see us. And while you're there, you might as well get something for yourself. Maybe a brand new John Deere mower. Outstanding financing available to you. Check it out. Scruggs Farm Lawn and Garden. Whatever you're doing around the house, they've got a product that makes your life easier. Scruggs Farm Lawn and Garden in Saltillo. They have what you want for less. All right. Earlier this week, I got to talk to friend of the podcast, Ben McKee, covers the Tennessee Volunteers for Go Vols 24/7. Here's his thoughts on the Tennessee Volunteers. As you know, all interviews here on Thunder and Lightning brought to you by Allura Modern Wellness, where they're having a what is it tonight? What is it they're doing tonight? It's like a business after
Kind
hours.
of like an open house thing.
Yeah. So if you're in the Starkville area this weekend, go by Allura Modern Wellness and check them out. They've got some really good stuff going on there. Also, starting this Friday, you can get hydration IVs. The hydration is a thing that, I know for a fact that people stay underhydrated. Like they're not drinking the right amount of liquid. And I'm not talking about Coke Zero. I'm talking about water. I'm talking about getting the electrolytes into your system. If you need to go and do that, hey, if you got a hangover, a hydration IV is a great thing for you. But just for recovery and relaxation, there's also great things as well. Starting as it's only a weekend thing right now, but if the demand is there, they're going to bring it for the whole week. So check that out starting this Friday. If you want to get a hydration IV at Allura Modern Wellness, you can do that. All right.
And on Thursday, the after hours is 5:30 to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
They're going to have drinks, snacks, door prizes, stuff like that.
If I can't get back from Saltillo that fast, but oh well, I'll miss out on that. All right, let's go now to my conversation with Ben McKee from Go Vols 24/7. You guys know that if we're talking about Mississippi State versus Tennessee, that Ben McKee from Go Vols 24/7 is going to be joining us on the podcast. And Ben, I'm not a big moral victory, take, a good loss, whatever you want to call it kind of thing. But I thought that Tennessee's performance against Georgia was about as much positive as you can take from a loss. And then, they bounced back with a massive victory over a not a really good UAB team, but they handled them so easily. I think this Tennessee team is really, really good. Have they outperformed your preseason expectations?
Yes, because of how they performed against Georgia. And just more big picture, the offense is much further ahead than I anticipated. I think the last time you had me on, I voiced my concerns about Tennessee's passing game and that being more about the receivers than Joey Aguilar. I mean, there was concern with Joey just because of the nature of his offseason. I didn't really know what to expect just getting here in May and not having a ton of time to learn the offense and develop chemistry with his receivers, the rest of the offensive players. And it's like he was the starting quarterback on last year's playoff team over Nico. It's not like this offseason happened at all. And I think that's a huge credit to who he is as a person. Being 24 years old, I believe it is, and just being mature and not getting too high, not getting too low. He reminds me a lot of Hendon Hooker, to be honest with you, with his leadership and his personality. And I think that's really helped him transition seamlessly despite the nature of his offseason. So I just you didn't know what to expect given the offseason. I was concerned about the receivers. And Chris Brazzell did not at all expect this Chris Brazzell to show up to where Todd McShay in week 3 is talking about him potentially being the number 1 receiver off of the board. And looking like the best player on the field against Georgia. I did not at all see that coming. Braylon Staley, Mike Matthews, they're further ahead than I anticipated. So um, they are further ahead than I anticipated. I mean, I thought they were. I picked them to go 9-3.
Mhm.
I just Georgia has had their number so distinctly. I mean, it's been dominating performances from Georgia, and that was not the case. And Tennessee fans, I feel like, should be as optimistic as they've ever been under Josh Heupel because the gap is not much of a gap between Josh Heupel and Kirby Smart, at least for this season. So, with that performance and the passing game being much further ahead than I anticipated, they are ahead of schedule, even if I do have some concerns on the opposite side of the football.
For me, the thing that gives Mississippi State the best chance to win is this is Tennessee's first road game of the season. They did play a neutral site game, but I think you and I both know that was played. That was basically a Tennessee home game there in Atlanta. Mississippi State just announced that this game is a hard sellout. They're expecting 65 or close to 65,000 in Davis Wade Stadium. I looked at Joey Aguilar. Never played obviously at Tennessee in this kind of environment. Last year they played at Clemson when he was at App State, but you and I both know second game of the year, non-conference game. That's not the most intense environment at Death Valley. Is Tennessee prepared to come into a Starkville crowd that is, I'll just go ahead and tell you, it is chomping at the bit to get into the stadium on Saturday?
I can imagine. I hate that I'm not going to be able to travel and not be able to be there this weekend.
Your ears will thank you, though.
I've heard. I've covered Mississippi State basketball games and certainly been over to baseball when Tennessee has been in town. I haven't been able to check football off the bucket list, and so I'm missing, particularly this weekend with how geared up the fans appear to be. I think that Tennessee is going to be able to handle the environment, but do you ever really know when a team is handling it for the first time? What I just got done saying about Joey Aguilar and being older and his personality. I mean, he is truly as cool as a cucumber, cool as the other side of the pillow. I mean, he does not get too high, he does not get too low. He truly does a phenomenal job of playing one play to the next and not getting rattled. So, but this is still his first true SEC road test. So you don't know until you go out there. So I think they'll handle it. I would be surprised. I think if they lose, it'll be because of the Tennessee secondary or Tennessee's offense just not being able to, I just think they won't play well if they
Right.
lose. I don't think it'll be a product of the environment, but certainly at all not trying to diminish what will be one of the best environments in college football this weekend. I'm fascinated to see how they handle it. I just kind of fall back on Josh Heupel's track record, and outside of the loss to South Carolina in 22 and Hendon Hooker tore his ACL early in the game,
Mhm.
and the last couple of trips to Athens to play Georgia, road games have not been a huge issue at all for Heupel's teams in terms of being prepared to play. I don't think people talk enough about how great of a job Josh Heupel does at getting his team ready to play. They don't play trap games because Heupel does such a great job of making sure his team is focused on the here and now and not looking ahead or making sure that they get over a heartbreaking loss to Georgia, something along those lines. So it's going to be a really tough test for Tennessee this weekend. I do have a lot of confidence in Josh Heupel and the players that this team's player leadership. So I would be surprised if the environment affects them a great deal, but it is certainly going to be a tall task.
So I love Tennessee's defensive philosophy, which is we're a little weak in the secondary, so let's just sack the quarterback every play. That's what's been going on with Tennessee. Their defensive line has been really fierce, and that's what, losing James Pierce from a season ago, you thought maybe that group wouldn't be as good as it was, but they've been outstanding. This is the matchup for me. State's O-line versus Tennessee's defensive line will determine whether this game is won or lost and who wins it. Why has this defensive line just been so scary good these first four games?
Because Rodney Garner is probably the best defensive line coach in America, and it's just that his unit is always going to be ready to play football. But aside from that, I mean they have a nice mix of veterans like Bryson Eason and Dominic Bailey, Joshua Josephs, who have just they're just so trustworthy, and they're going to be where they're supposed to be, and they're not gonna Joseph's will be flashy because of kind of the nature of his position being an edge rusher, but Dominic Bailey and Bryson Eason on the interior, the announcers are not going to talk about them, but they're going to have as big of an impact on the game as anybody. But then they also have a mix of similar guys to Joshua Joseph's, like a Caleb Herring, who has always had the potential, sat behind James Pierce Jr. and Joseph's for a couple of years, and now he's really starting to come into his own. There's a couple of younger guys like a Nathan Robinson that's starting to come into his own as well. So it's just a nice mix of veterans that provide great leadership and just consistently make the plays that they need to, but then guys who are going to play in the NFL one day who flash and show up quite a bit. We saw that from Caleb Herring in the Georgia game. But I will say that they're a bit banged up, and that's my concern. I mentioned concerns on the defensive side of the ball, and they have been snake bitten by the injury bug here to start the year at corner, and it's affected them in a big way. And on the interior of the defensive line, and that's hurt them in a big way as well. Georgia was able to run the football on them quite a bit. That good Syracuse offense that I don't think people realized in the moment was good. They were able to move the ball in Tennessee because injuries started to pile up in the second half. And I mentioned Eason and Bailey kind of there on the interior, but they've had guys like Jackson Moy out, who is supposed to be one of their better defensive linemen. Um, and they're also missing David Hobbs as well. Now, I think those guys are going to get back this week. We'll see that will be a much needed boost, but they've been a little thin here to start the year, and that's kind of the matchup within the matchup to watch is just how healthy Tennessee can be. I think they'll be as healthy as they've been to start the year in the month of September, but I'm sure those guys will still be on somewhat of a pitch count, and how effective will they be able to be coming off of an arm injury and an ankle injury?
Mississippi State is a big play offense. I mean, they're getting around that. I think I saw a stat that State leads the country in plays of completions of, or leads the conference. I'm sorry, 40 and 50-yard completions. Yeah, they throw the ball down the field. Evans and Thompson are elite speed guys. Something State just has not had in the past. Is that your biggest concern for Tennessee? Is State's ability to stretch the field and get those big pass plays?
Absolutely. It concerns me more than what will be a great environment. It concerns me more about what we just talked about with State's offensive line versus Tennessee's defensive line, and kind of being banged up a little bit on the interior. Tennessee's just been banged up in the secondary, and I don't really love their safeties either. I don't know that they're a huge issue, but I don't know that they're a difference maker either. And what this reminds me of, I made this point this morning with former Tennessee receiver Jason Swain, is I know Levy's in year two,
Mm-hmm.
but it really reminds me of Heupel in year one at
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee, to where they just hang around in the ball game
There's a
longer
lot
than
of
people anticipate.
there's a lot of year zero with Jeff
Yes.
Levy last year. Like that team was not built for the SEC. This team, at least through 4 weeks, looks like it can compete.
And it seems like from the outside looking in, I like Shapen. So he had Shapen last year, but in terms of
He got
some,
hurt week 4, so
yes, that does not help. And then and Levy was able to go out and get playmakers or skill position players that truly fit his offense. And I think back to Velus Jones in 2021, Javante Payton, a Jabari Small, guys like that, that maybe people outside of Knoxville were not aware of. But you pair the tempo, you pair the scheme, you pair Heupel and Golish with those skill position players, and Hendon Hooker bursting onto the scene, and they just hung around games longer than people anticipated. And you look up at the end of the season, and they're which for year one, coming off of the Jeremy Pruitt debacle, you end up in an overtime loss to Purdue in the Music City Bowl, and that
yeah.
is, I mean, people were picking Tennessee to win 3 or 4 football games that year, and that's kind of what this Mississippi State team reminds me of. They just hang around longer than they should. And I think it's a byproduct of Levy, his system, the players within the system, and now they're going up against the banged up Tennessee secondary. I love Colton Hood. I think he is a real big time player. That's kind of been a very pleasant surprise. You hate that you don't have Ricky Gibson out there. You hate that you don't have Jamal McCoy out there. Those are NFL corners. Colton Hood's an NFL corner as well, and I'd be surprised if State tests him. State's going to go after Ty Redmond, the true freshman on the opposite side, who is a really good freshman. He's going to have a great career at Tennessee. You saw Georgia pick on him a little bit and have success because of that. So I don't anticipate seeing Jamal McCoy back out there. I think it's from Tennessee's perspective, he takes the bye week next week and starts October kind of knocking off some of the rust against Arkansas and then is back for Alabama. So I think Mississippi State's going to catch a break with that one, who, for those who don't know, Jamal McCoy,
Outstanding.
arguably the top corner in the country or in the draft coming up. So that's a big win for Mississippi State. And like I said, I have trust in Colton Hood. Boo Carter seems to be coming along at star after his turbulent offseason of just staying in trouble. So kind of circling that Ty Redmond matchup against this Levy offense, I think that's the matchup. The games are always won in the trenches. I get that, but
Right.
I kind of think that's the matchup that's going to dictate how long State hangs around and if they can pull off this upset with the atmosphere backing them.
So last question, and we do this every on our podcast. We pick an offensive and a defensive playmaker, and then we pick an X factor. Somebody not going to have the most stats, but maybe they just make a big play within the game. If you had to pick an X factor for Tennessee, who is it in this game?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think it's going to have to be on defense because I think going into this environment, I say it's going to be on defense, but mine just went back to offense. It's going to be Star Thomas on
Okay.
Tennessee's offense. I think that's going to be the X. He's going to have the stats, so I hear what you're saying. I guess where I'm coming from is I don't think are Mississippi State fans aware of how good Star Thomas is.
Probably not.
I think Tennessee has three great backs, really good backs of Star Thomas, Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis, and we're starting to learn here in Knoxville week by week that Star Thomas is a little bit different. He's just a playmaker. I love watching him play football. He's one of my favorite players on Tennessee to watch play football. Transferred in from Duke in the offseason and had as good of an offseason as anybody, completely transformed his body. He makes plays in the passing game. He does a great job of running the football as a running back, obviously. Has a lot of wiggle, a lot of burst. And I just think Tennessee's really going to need him to have a big game because I do think the defense is going to be tested a bit. You're going into that environment. Tennessee's got to have to be able to run the football and play defense this weekend in order to win in this type of environment. So Star Thomas is kind of RB1 for Tennessee, so maybe not a true X factor in that regard.
Mhm.
But I don't think people outside of Knoxville quite yet realize that like Star Thomas is one of the better running backs in the SEC.
It's kind of weary, and these are two offenses that throw the ball down the field. They have big plays, but this is going to be a very old school football game. I feel you just said it's going to be one in the trenches, defense. I really do think that the more physical football team is going to step forward and get this one. Ben, glad you're doing better, man. Keep on progressing. For those of you who don't know, Ben's in a battle right now. Do you want to go into any detail there?
Go for it. I'm dealing with that fun C word. So
Yes. So
thankfully I'm over the hump in terms of treatment. Have fewer weeks left than I do have in front of me. So I'm doing well.
good. That's great to hear. We love you here on Thunder and Lightning, man. You've been our Tennessee guy for a few years now, and keep progressing. And we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Brian. Enjoy the game.
So this has been the thought process for me this whole week with this game, and you tell me if I'm on the right track or not. I'm putting a lot on Blake Shapen's shoulders for this game. I think he has to outplay Aguilar. He has to be the best quarterback on the field, and he has to play his best game as a Bulldog. If State can get that out of him, I'm going to feel really good about State's chances to win this game. Am I right? Am I wrong? I think, the idea of, well, maybe you're putting too much pressure. Buddy, this is what you signed up for. You're an SEC quarterback. You got to deliver. He's got to deliver on Saturday.
Yeah, he does. And offensive line has to deliver.
Yeah.
If they give him time and he doesn't hold on to the ball too long, that's been kind of an issue for him early on this season. If he's getting rid of the ball quickly and he's upright and he's taking care of himself and the offensive line's taking care of him, State's going to have a chance. He can attack them down the field. I think that State has an advantage there with Anthony Evans and Brennan Thompson against their cornerbacks. Now, Tennessee might help those guys out with an extra defensive back. If that's the case, if you're facing a lighter box, State's got to be able to take what they can get from the defense. If you can run the football a little bit on this defense, make them creep up, and then you can hit big plays, I think that's ideal for you. Like I think that'd be a good development if State's allowed to run the football a little bit, because I do think the big shots are going to be there as well. So yeah, I think Blake Shapen is without a doubt a giant part of Mississippi State winning and losing this game. And that's he's a starting quarterback, but He really is. I mean,
Well, and the other side of that is State's defense is good. It's much better. It's not good enough to win the game by itself. It's got to have you. We would
gotta
talk
have
about
help.
this. You got to have the offense here. State can give up, I would say, 24 to 31 points and still feel like they can have a chance to win. Anything more than that, I mean, it's going to be tough, right? But this is not a defense that's going to go out there and hold Tennessee to 14 or 17 points, and you can win 21-17. You got to have a good offensive day.
They're going to have to limit what they do running the football because they've been really good at rotating their backs, and everybody that comes in, there's like no drop off. If you look at it, they have 7 yards a rush, 6.5 yards a rush, 5 yards a rush. Like the 3-man rotation they have has been really successful, and that in part makes things a lot easier for Aguilar. So State's got to be able to slow them down on the run game, and then they're going to have to continue to defend down the field too. But it's hard to imagine them being able to totally limit what Tennessee does offensively.
Mm-hmm.
They've scored, I think, 41 points in every ball game. One of the best offenses in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But I think State's going to be able to score too.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to take advantage of the opportunities when they get them, and they've got to score touchdowns and not just field goals. And if they do give up a lot of yards to Tennessee, I don't think that's a crushing blow.
No.
I think they just have to end drives in the red zone with field goals other than touchdowns. It's got to be kind of in an inverse situation where Mississippi State's scoring touchdowns and holding Tennessee to field goals. So I think Tennessee will score,
Right.
but it's a win if you hold them to a field goal.
It's what we've been saying for the past, 18 months, basically. It's like State's got to win shootouts.
Yeah.
This is going to be a shootout. You got to win it. You got to have, you got to have more firepower than Tennessee. You got to, ride the crowd. I can't stress enough. Again, it's it's a cliche, but State has tried to go up top early in almost every game. They connected against Southern Mississippi. They connected against Arizona State. They connected against Alcorn. They just missed a couple of big shots against Northern Illinois.
But still scored.
A big play, second, third play, a deep shot to Thompson or Evans or whoever, and get that crowd just rolling early on. That's what got. I was thinking about this the other day, Robbie. If you reversed the Arizona State game, and so State is down 20-3 at the end of the first half, but then they come back to win. They have a monster second half, right? I don't know if that could have happened, though, because the big first half got everybody excited and kept everybody in the stadium for the second half. If State's down 20-3 at the end of the second quarter to Arizona State, I don't know that everybody sticks around. They're just like, this team's just not any better. I'm going to the house. And I don't know that you can have that same comeback. So in this game, a fast start is just so crucial for Mississippi State. They need to be up 7-0 on their first drive.
Yeah, that was one of my keys against Arizona State. When you're playing games like this and you have that home environment, it really is about getting early production.
Yeah.
And turning it into points and keeping everybody energized. That's exactly what Arizona State did to Mississippi State last year. They got a big lead. State did kind of the reverse Arizona State, and they were able to get back in that game, although Arizona State came all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
State's going to have to get Joey Aguilar and that Tennessee team rattled early in this game. If you want to pull an upset, that's what you do. You get teams rattled early on in the ball game. You get out to a lead. You keep the crowd hyped up and in it. You can't go into halftime down 2 touchdowns or something like that. I mean, this has to be a close game, or you have to be winning it to feel really good about your chances in the second half. I don't think there's a lot of people that have just already admitted defeat on this game. Tennessee is not that kind of team that I look at. And it's like you look in the past at the Georgias and the Alabamas. I don't look at Tennessee in that way. They're deeply flawed in a lot of areas.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good team that
everybody
could come
in the
and
SEC
start and
is
win.
this year, Robbie. Everybody in the SEC. There's no perfect team.
There's nobody
this year.
But this is a very good team that could boat race Mississippi State. That's the thing about them, is they have the ability to dominate this ball game. But if Mississippi State is playing good football in this game, they can win.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's kind of the key is they've got to play clean. They've got to get off to a good start. They need the crowd to stay in it.
Mm-hmm.
All those things have to come together for Mississippi State because it still would be an upset for Mississippi State to win this game. They're over a touchdown underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
They came into the week 10.5-point underdogs in this game. So no matter what happens, it's an upset for the Bulldogs. So a lot of things still have to go right for Mississippi State to win this game because Tennessee is a more talented team. They are a deeper team, and they have more experience in the coaching positions. But it's not an unwinnable game. I think people have looked at it and said they're going to kill us. State's defense, while it still is not great, and it might not even be good, is light years better than last year.
Yes.
I mean, I look at this team, and I actually believe they can get a stop on 3rd and 1,
Yes.
on 4th and 1. They can get off the field. This team is not totally incapable of getting stops against Tennessee. They've done it against everybody they've played.
Right.
And so I don't think this is going to be necessarily like I'm expecting Tennessee to score on every possession, which is what I expected going into that game last year.
I think you nailed it right there. All right. Preview tomorrow, plus my interview with Dave Neal from ESPN. Going to be on the call this weekend for the second straight weekend. So he saw Mississippi State against Northern Illinois. Interested to get his thoughts there and what he thinks of this Tennessee team as well. Plus, of course, it's a 3Ps, preview, playmakers, and predictions. We'll see you tomorrow. Mississippi State versus Tennessee. Will I hold to my what I said? I said if State was 4-0, I would predict 5-0. We'll find out tomorrow. Talk to you then. For Robbie Faulk, I'm Brian Hadad. Thanks for listening to Thunder and Lightning here on SuperTalk, Mississippi.